I guess that's what happens when you're muted. What's good, y'all? Good luck, Ninja. How y'all doing? Thanks for pulling up to the stream. Y'all in here on time and early. That's what I like to see. That's funny. No audio. I sure enough didn't have no audio. All right. We got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm really excited for tonight. We missed out on last week. I do apologize for that. I was in bed all day. My allergies were literally killing me, and I was in bed absolutely all day. Let me do one thing. First things first. I gotta cut this game on. I started to watch the game. Then I was getting some notes together for tonight's show, but I didn't get a chance to watch the Bucks Boston game that's on right now. Brody, let's go Hawk. Half day of school so I can pull up. Half day. Wait, what time zone are you in? Are you normally in school during the shows? Or are you saying you got a half day tomorrow or you got a half day today? Either way, man. Appreciate you pulling up, Brody. Rage, what's good? What's good, Rage? Oh yeah, I forgot. I put that title so long ago, Rage. I was like, I see the title. What was the title? But yeah, can the Sixers? Oh, New Zealand. You did tell me. That is wild that y'all be pulling up from literally across the world. That is insane to me. That blows my mind. Hey, I appreciate it for real. I really do appreciate it. 1204. The internet is a big place. The internet is a big place. I appreciate you pulling up. Let me get settled. Got a lot to talk about on the docket. Towards the second half of the show, I'll be in the Discord, pulling people up from the Discord to be a part of the Q&A that we're going to do. Ninja Deal says, okay, I'm trying to get more peeps to join. I told them if they'll join, they have worse takes than extra D Young Daddy Weary. Very laggy. Is it still laggy? The lagginess should fix itself. Sometimes the streams you wildin' with the lag. I think I fixed why it was happening. That's also partly why we took off last week. But we should have better stream in terms of lag. And what's good? Thanks for pulling up to the stream. I got you with the Discord link in a second. I'm pulling it up right now. But yeah, so we'll be pulling about halfway through the stream. After I got some notes I want to talk about today's shows. Excuse me, about the games from these past couple of days, the series that's going on, the second round of the NBA playoffs. I got some thoughts about my Sixers, of course, obviously. We'll talk about MVP a little bit, not in necessarily a bad way, but I just have some thoughts on it. And then I'll probably start bringing people up. I created a channel in the Discord. That's like one of those stages where I can bring people up, and we'll do that probably in, what time is it? 8. I'm hoping to do that like 20-30 minutes. I just got some things I want to get off my chest. Give me half a second. I'm trying to grab the link for the chat. How do you... Question of the day is, so I'm not old, right? Like, I'm 28 years old, right, guys? So I'm not old, but I'm also not like super young. And Discord has made me feel, it's the first time in my life I felt out of touch with technology a little bit. Discord link going in the chat right now. Because sometimes I'll be like, I have no idea sometimes what I'm doing when it comes to Discord and figuring out how to run it. But it's been a good time so far. Rage, we just started the Discord probably like 2 weeks ago. I made a TikTok about it. It didn't go like viral, obviously. Not that many people saw it, but I've been plugging it a little bit. Oh, Rage, you've been on Discord for 4 years? Oh, that's love. My younger brother's on Discord. My younger brother's 20, and he's on Discord, and he loves it. He don't even text his friends. They have Discord group chats. But I'm getting into it. I'm getting into the Discord world. I'm getting into that. And Rudy Gay, that's the plan, to get on Discord with other creators and do some collabs and stuff like that. It was shout out to Player's Choice. There's the one who put me on the Discord. I was watching some of their stuff and I was like, wait. They be bringing people up, and because I really just originally just watched Player's Choice on TikTok. Then I started watching a couple of their lives and a couple of their long form videos. And towards the end, they usually bring people up. And I'm like, what do you mean you're bringing people up? Found out it was through Discord. I was like, oh, I definitely want to do something like that. And also just, you know, build a community to be able to talk hoops with you guys on a more consistent basis. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into it. Looks like, you know what I mean, y'all pulled up. It's because you posted on a story, not an actual video. That's right, Ninja. I didn't post it as an actual video. I posted it as a story. All right, well, tonight we're going to I'm going to record a video to let people know we got a Discord, and then they can pull up to the Discord. That is crazy. I thought I did that. But stream looks like it's, I literally just jinxed myself. I said the stream, okay, stream looks like it's pretty healthy in terms of connection. If it's a little laggy, bear with me. It shouldn't be too crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and hop into some things. And let's just get into it. So I want to start out with my Sixers series. Game 5 was last night. I'll be honest, I didn't see the first half of Game 5. I missed the first half. I was seeing Doctor Strange, huge Marvel fan. And I get home, I cut the TV on, and we're already down 10. I believe, yeah, we're already down 10. And I'm like, okay, I'm going back. It's literally halftime. I'm gonna cut the TV on. So I pull up my phone. I'm trying to see what happened, catching some highlights on TNT at the halftime show. And from what I can tell, it just doesn't look like we're being very aggressive. Second half starts. I'm watching the game, and the Heat just punches in the face, like just punches in the mouth. And the team just doesn't bounce back. The Sixers had no energy at all. Joel, to me, didn't have the energy. Now, I want to start out with Joel because I heard two camps. I'll call them camps, but I heard two ways of thinking about this over the last 24 hours. One half of the people, a lot of Sixers fans particularly, were saying, like, he's injured, obviously. Orbital bone fracture, torn ligament in his thumb. He's injured. He's tired. He's injured. I got that. I get it a little bit. The other half were saying, hey, man, that MVP news just came out. He might be a little mad. Jokic won it and he didn't win it, so he's not coming to play. He doesn't have the energy because he might be a little upset. I think it's somewhere in the middle, to be real with you. I think it's somewhere in the middle. And the reason I say that is, yeah, the orbital bone fracture is legit, a real thing. The hand torn ligament in his thumb, legit, a real thing. Something that they said won't get fixed until he stops playing, basically. I think Embiid fell somewhere in the middle of, and he said it after the game, basically like, if I don't play, you're going to call me soft. If I do play and I have a bad game, we're going to be having the type of conversations we were having all day where basically everybody say he wet the bed, didn't show up, did not have a good game at all. I get it, Joel. You want to be there. You want to play for your team. You want to be there. I can't help but think, at least to a little bit, to me, that something was off. Besides the injuries, outside of all of that, something was off solely based off of he didn't have the shot attempts that he normally does. Hey, Serge, thanks for pulling up to the stream. How you doing, man? I'm half watching the chat. I seen Serge name. I gotta shout you out. He's just not there. At least last night he wasn't there. I don't know if it was mentally. You can put it on the fact that he didn't win the MVP. I'm hoping that's not the case because I think he's a bigger person than that. Like, just he needs to show up for his team. But the reason I'm saying some of it might be more than just the injury and getting to him and pain tolerance, things like that, because when he took shots, they were going in. Joel Embiid, field goal percentage wise, he had a good night. When he was aggressive and he took the ball to the rim or he decided to shoot, he had a really, really good night. But he did not have enough shot attempts early in the game when we needed him to take shots when the Heat were beating us. He was not there mentally at all to me. And I want to say he ended the game. I don't have the box score up off the top of my head, but when I looked at it last night, he ended the game with either 13 or 15 shot attempts. And you can say, okay, that's not necessarily bad. But at that point, about 4 of those were when we were already down 20, 25, 30 points. Those shot attempts didn't matter, at least to me. They didn't matter to me. When the game mattered, when it was still only a 10-point game, and we'll say going out of the third or midway through the third, I remember midway through the third, he had 9 shot attempts. That's not enough. You're supposed to be the best player on our team. You not even supposed to be. You are the best player on our team. Our offense runs through Joel Embiid. If he's not there, if he's not being aggressive, we're just not going to do anything. There's nothing we can do if he's not being aggressive. And Rage says Harden needs to shoot more. I got a note on Harden too. I was looking at I'm scrolling on Twitter at work today, and I see a tweet that's basically two photos of iconic Harden moments. They're iconic, but I can't remember who he did this to. But it was two separate moments where it's basically a Harden step back crossover where his defender has both hands on the ground or fell on the ground, and he shot and made those threes. Once again, I say iconic, but I can't remember who the defenders were. But we all can picture a moment like that in Harden's career where he crossed somebody up, that defender falls, he splashes a three. When I tell you I haven't seen that level of separation from James Harden since his days in Houston. So, yeah, to an extent, I would love to see Harden shoot more. And I think I said this, I don't know if I said this last time we were live or in a video recently, but this version of Harden is just the Harden that we have. Harden's getting older. He's getting up there in age. All the other guys in Harden's class, if you consider it his class, I know he's on the younger tier of that class, but we were just finished saying a couple weeks ago, was KD slowing down? People are having a conversation, is LeBron slowing down? People are having a conversation, is Russ slowing down? Is Chris Paul slowing down? Carmelo Anthony slowed down? The next person, like I said, he's a little younger than some of these guys, but the next person in that category to start slowing down is James Harden, simply due to age. So we can have the conversation of Harden needs to do more. We would like to see Harden step up more and do more for this team, but I don't think he has more to give. I think at times we saw it this series where he'll give us a big game. He might have a moment where he looks like James Harden, but to be honest with you, the only difference is his threes are just falling. He's taking the same shots. They just happen to fall in games that he's playing well. And the games that he's not playing well, to me, it's not that he's not playing well, or it's not that the shots aren't falling. There's just not the separation that there used to be. It's easier to defend. It's easier to defend. Also, when you go back to 2018, when he was MVP level superstar James Harden, that was 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago. NBA players have learned how to guard that type of player better, especially if that type of player is a step slower. And in the NBA, these players are so elite, these guys are so elite that if you're one step slower, if you're 1 millisecond slower in reaction time, that's the difference between a superstar and just a solid starter in some cases. And it looks like that might be in Harden's case. But talking about the Miami Heat, I want to give them some praise. I don't just want to sit here and say the Sixers lost this game. No, the Heat won it. The Heat came in and they won this game. They did what they were supposed to do. They won at home. This series in particular, this series and the Suns series is just the Suns Maverick series, an example of the home team handling business. In this case of the Heat and the Sixers, both of these teams have a lot of other guys. The Danny Greens of the world who showed up big for the Sixers in their last home game. Then you have the Max Struces, the Victor Oladipos, the Duncan Robinson even got some time in this Heat game. The PJ Tuckers, those type of guys, they're going to play better at home. And the Heat played really, really, really well at home. So shout out to the Heat. We'll see what happens. That's all I have to say about it. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Could the Sixers win at home? Yes. The Sixers can go home, win game 6, because this is a series full of guys who play better at home. And home court advantage means a whole lot in this series. Was this a bad loss? Yeah. Did I expect the Sixers to lose? I'll be honest, yes. But I thought we were going to lose by like 10, maybe 15, not 30, 35, or however crazy it was. I'm going to read these comments, and I do want to read one more note that I had written down about Joel Embiid before I move on to the next series. Let me see what y'all talking about in here. Rage. Embiid mentally wasn't there. He's scared of hurting himself again. I mean, that's a good point. I would be scared of hurting myself too. He's been through a lot, and if I'm him, I don't want to make my injury worse. That's something I wanted to say. If I'm him, I don't want to make my injury worse. And I think he is in a very interesting predicament in terms of playing through this injury, because I feel like he has this has a history of being injury prone. We know this. He spent the first couple of his years not playing. This is his healthiest year, and he still only played 67 games. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but it was high 60s, and that was his healthiest year of his career so far. He didn't even get into the 70s. So he has a history of injury, which is, it is what it is. You take that with a grain of salt. It's just what us Sixers fans have had to come to accept. But if he has this history of injury, I feel like he's with a game like last night when he decided to play, he's making a decision on what type of player he wants to be remembered as. Now we're getting into legacy talk and stuff like that. And I compared him, or at least the thought that came to mind was thinking about Kawhi Leonard, right? Kawhi Leonard, we talk about it all the time. We hear it in the media. I don't know if I've talked about it on my platforms because I honestly haven't talked about Kawhi much since I started creating content because he hasn't played. But he hasn't played due to injury. Kawhi Leonard's known as a load management guy. But Kawhi, some people knock him for it. Some media members knock him for it. Skip, obviously knocks him for it because he left San Antonio. But Kawhi doesn't get a lot of hate for being a load management guy, for being a guy who's going to say, hey, I'm taking tonight off. I'm taking this night off for my health so I can play in the postseason. Mainly because Kawhi, when he is healthy, does show up and play big in the postseason. He doesn't play for the San Antonio Spurs because he's injured, once out. He gets a lot of hate during that time, gets traded to Toronto, wins them a championship. No one cares. No one really cares. He load manages when he gets to the Clippers. He looks absolutely phenomenal in the playoffs, happens to get injured. So that's one way you can handle injury for a player. You can be known as a load management guy, but if you perform in the playoffs, if you happen to win 2 championships in Kawhi's case, honestly, no one's really going to care, and we're going to regard you as a top 5 player when you're healthy. Or you can go, the only other person I can really think of, it's a crazy comparison, I know, but you can go to late, great Kobe Bryant route. Whereas we all can vividly think of memories where Kobe's playing with fingers wrapped, ice on his shoulder and knees at halftime when he's sitting on the bench, just riddled with injury, but he's playing through it. He's putting up great numbers still. And we call it Mamba mentality. We say he was such a fighter, such a warrior, such a dog. And I think Joel is somewhere stuck in the middle of, I think he wants to be Kobe, but I think because he's still relatively young, because when Kobe was doing that, he was in his 30s. He was, he was trying to continue to win, trying to chase another ring, trying to will his team to another championship, but he was also in his 30s and had already won 3. And then Joel, in a different situation, hasn't won 1. Sixers haven't made it past the second round in his tenure there so far. It might be beneficial to him to maybe adopt a little Kawhi, maybe load manage a little bit so he can be there when his team needs him in the postseason. Now, part of that is Kawhi was able to load manage because his team, he had a really good team built around him. I think the Sixers might need to tweak a couple of things to have the ability to do that for Joel, but it was just something to think about, something I wanted to say. All right, back to these comments real quick. Harden needs to be good, straight up. Brody says Jordan Poole hand and not bruised. We're going to talk about that in a second. Oh, y'all in here commenting. That's what I like to see. 76ers chose Simmons. Simmons over Butler. What are your thoughts on that? Hardest for 3 years, not doing anything. That slowed him down. That's a very, very good point. Yeah. Simmons wasn't the right choice. If Butler still in 76ers, would they be a top contender like the Heat? You calling Hawk old? Who's calling me old? I'm not old. I'm 28. I mean, I'm knocking on 30, so. All right. That's an excellent question, Rage. I talk about it all the time. The Sixers chose Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler. It's a mix of, yes, they chose Simmons over Butler, but it's also Butler didn't want to play for it. From what I can tell, based on the interviews, a lot of it from Jimmy Butler's time talking to JJ Redick on JJ Redick's podcast. If you haven't seen that episode, it's one of JJ Redick's best episodes, in my opinion, just because those are two guys who really rock with each other and are talking candidly about my Sixers. So to me, it's one of my favorite episodes. I don't know if to a normal NBA fan, it's one of the best episodes, but I don't really know if they chose. I mean, you can say they chose Simmons over Jimmy. I think it's more so Jimmy was like, I'm not playing here. One, I feel like he was like, I'm not playing under Brett Brown. So he was like, I'm out. And I think he could have played with Simmons, but Brett Brown was too inconsistent in the way he was coaching for Jimmy Butler. That's my humble opinion about it. All right. I didn't even talk about the one last Joel Embiid thing I said I wanted to talk about. Y'all know I'm a Sixers fan. Y'all gonna rock with me, right? Y'all gonna rock with me. I can talk about my Sixers for another 2 seconds. I wanted to just quickly talk about the MVP race. I put a video up talking about congratulating Jokic, telling Sixers fans to calm down. It's really not that deep. I've seen so many people discrediting Jokic in the hopes, I guess, to say why Joel should have got it. That's not the way I would like to go about it, right? But Joel Embiid was recently asked about the award and just basically his thoughts on it because he hasn't had a time to be asked about it. And I can't tell if this was after Game 5 in Miami when we just lost or before Game 5. But it was really interesting. It was really interesting thoughts. So he basically just asked for a response on the MVP. He says, actually, where's my iPad at? Did I not bring my iPad in here? Oh. All right. We don't got the stream deck today, but I will share this with y'all since this is what I'm talking about at the moment. Bop. All right. So real quick, I just thought it was really interesting words for one reason in particular. He says, obviously, congrats to Nikola. He deserved it. He had an amazing season. There's no right or wrong. There were a lot of candidates who could have gone either way. Giannis, Devin Booker being on the best team in the league by far. So I guess every year it's all about whatever you guys decide, whether it's fit, whatever fits the narrative as far as who's going to win. Then he continues to say, but to me, the only thing I'll say about these awards is that until I don't know how to explain it, I go back to what I heard on a podcast. Bill Simmons basically saying F Jalen Green. If you're going to allow these type of people to vote on the awards, that's not fair. What if Jalen Green was in a position to earn a Supermax? Or I don't know, an All-Star appearance? You got someone sounding off like that who has a lot of power. He can sway a lot of other media members. You got to think of that type of stuff. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's okay. I thought this was really interesting because it's something I've been saying for a little while. I won't say it's something I've been saying for a little while. It's just something that I've been thinking for a little while. Not so much when it comes to MVP, but when I think about All NBA, when I think about, you can call it MVP, All-Star, I just think the NBA media members have a lot of power, and then a lot of power that has real world implications on some of these players outside of, you know, the awards and accolades. Those are great for the players. Obviously, they're playing this game. We love to watch this game. Hold on a second. There's more that Embiid said about that. Oh, if he said more, I might have. Oh, he did play more. My fault. I did read this whole article, but I did miss this part. Shout out to Ninja. Good looks, bro. Embiid continued to say, that's really the last thing I'll say about those awards. I'm not mad. These last 2 years in a row, I've put myself in a position that I put myself in that position. It didn't happen. It's almost like at this point, it's whatever. Whatever happens, happens. Last year, I campaigned about it. This year, I answered questions when I was asked. And the next year, you know, a few years before I retire, it's almost like I don't know what else I have to do with it. To me, it's just whatever. It's all about, not that I wasn't focusing on the bigger picture, but it's really time to really put all my energy in the bigger picture, which is winning the whole thing. I think that's his full statement. So, to me, what was I saying? The media has a lot of power, real world implications outside of just us here being super fans of the league and wanting our guys or somebody on our team to win awards and things like that. These guys' contracts, the money that these guys make is tied to All NBA appearances, All-Star appearances, MVPs. That's how you get a Supermax, by getting certain amount of either All-Star or All NBA appearances or MVP within a certain time span. That's how you're eligible to make more money. And to an extent, to me, to a lot of people, it's like, all right, what's the difference between a $180 million contract and a $220 million contract? I get it. Both of those are crazy amounts of money, way more than I'll probably ever make in my life. It's just things that, to the players, I'm sure they're concerned about and they think about. And I don't know. it was just interesting to me. Could be because I'm a Sixers fan and my guy didn't win it, but it's something I've been thinking about for a while, that just media members have a lot of power. And I get why they have a lot of power. The NBA gave them this power to vote for these awards back in the 80s because they wanted the NBA to get more national attention. So if you give media members the opportunity to vote for these awards, they're going to write about the NBA throughout the whole season. And obviously, this is back in the 80s when the newspaper was booming and going crazy. And therefore, the NBA continues to grow because more people are interested in it because it's getting out into the media. All right, I'm getting off my soapbox, and now I'm going back to talk about actual games that are going on right now. AJ, good. What's good, man? Thanks for pulling up to the stream. Who you got winning tonight, Warriors or Memphis? Let's talk about that series. I wasn't going to talk about the Suns, Dallas, but let's go Warriors, Grizzlies right now. So Warriors, Grizzlies, they're up. Warriors up 3-1. John Morant's out with a bone bruise. I didn't think so many people would be what's a newspaper? I don't know why that was funny to me, but it was. I didn't think so many people would be really, at least yesterday. It's not so much today. I didn't see it that much today, but yesterday there was a lot of discourse on whether or not Jordan Poole is a dirty player, whether or not the Jordan Poole John Morant play was a dirty play. If you didn't see it, I'm sure everyone here has probably seen it by now. When Jordan Poole's going for the loose ball, happens to pull on the inside of John Morant's knee. So I didn't think, at the time, I didn't really think anything of it, to be honest with you. But so many people were calling it a dirty play after the game. I saw so many tweets about it. I saw doctors on Twitter making videos saying stuff, yada, yada, yada. One dude had a diagram saying it could be a ligament tear. It was a whole lot going on. Turns out it's a bone bruise. And to me, because it's a bone bruise, I think it came from when the injury came from what I thought would have, because it's a bone bruise, I think it solidified, at least my thoughts was, he got hurt when he bumped knees with Klay Thompson. That's what I thought hurt him. And because it's a bone bruise, that's kind of what I'm sticking with. I don't know if they've officially said that's what hurt him. They're just saying he got injured in game 3, but that's what I'm going with. Now, in terms of the series, it really does suck that John Morant's injured. I think the Memphis Grizzlies were doing a lot this series. I think they were playing very, very well. I think obviously the Warriors are a better team. I said that going into the series. I said that the Grizzlies Timberwolves series was really fun to watch. It was two young, scrappy teams making some dumb mistakes throughout the series, but playing entertaining basketball. And I said, shout out to them for making it to the playoffs, having a great series, but whoever wins that series is going to lose to the Warriors. So regardless of who came out of that series, I thought the Warriors were going to win. I just think they're the better team. I think they have a championship pedigree about them. They're smarter. They play better. But I think this is great experience for the Memphis Grizzlies. And I think we saw that on display in Game 4. Without John Morant, they had the game close almost the whole game. Not even almost. The whole game it was close until the Warriors outscored them by 10 in the fourth quarter. The argument can be made, and I have it even written down in my notes, that I think the Warriors were playing down to their level of competition. But hey, if the Warriors aren't going to play like the Warriors and play down to the level of competition, shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies for making it a game. Because in another world, the Memphis Grizzlies could have came out with their heads down. They could have came out like, man, our guy's out for the rest of the series, for the rest of the playoffs. It's the Golden State Warriors. We have no hope. But that's not what happened. They came out fighting. They came out and had a really good game. And I think it was a blessing in disguise, the fact that John Morant missed 20-plus games this season, because the rest of that Memphis Grizzlies team had an opportunity to prove to themselves and to the NBA, but mainly to themselves, that they can win without him, and they can believe in themselves without him. It was a really good game. Shout out to the Warriors once again. And that fourth quarter, the Grizzlies were still solid. The Warriors just were themselves and were better. They proved that they were a better team. To be honest with you, I would not be surprised if the Grizzlies won Game 5 in Memphis. To be honest with you, I really wouldn't. I expect the Warriors to win, but I would not be surprised if the Grizzlies win. My pick is the Warriors, if you're asking what my pick is. But it wouldn't surprise me, mainly because the Grizzlies, because they're such a young team, because they're a team of, I hate using this word, but other guys, Their superstar is out, but they have a lot of good quality players, and those type of good quality players play really great at home. Memphis has an amazing home court, home crowd energy, home court environment, but Memphis has to give the crowd something to cheer for early. They got to come out. They got to come out playing hard out the gate, maybe get a little lead or at least keep it close, keep it a little back and forth with them. But if the Warriors want to, they can say, nah, we're championship pedigree and we can just win this game, and that way we can get a little bit of a rest. Either way, it's been a good series. Speedy recovery for Ja. I don't think it's going to have any effects on him in the long term. A bone bruise does, it's some pain there, but in terms of his athleticism, looking forward to next season, I don't see him taking any steps back or slowing down anyway. I'm sure he's just honestly disappointed he can't be out there on the court for his team. All right, what y'all talking about in here? Dang, it's already been 30 minutes, huh? All right. Josh finna gritty to the hospital. You're wildin'. You're wildin'. Warriors might lose tonight. You're right, because they wouldn't be surprised if they were 20-5. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The Grizzlies proved that they can win without Ja Morant. And I saw a lot of people tweet on Twitter talking about, the Grizzlies beat the Warriors when they didn't have Ja Morant, but the Warriors also weren't the Warriors. They didn't have Draymond. They didn't have Clay. It wasn't the same. It's a possibility, but I don't see it. What else are I talking about in here? Jumped in the clay. Bro, do you hate how cocky the Grizzlies get? Ja Morant, it pisses you off? I like it. I'm not going to hold you. It might be the unpopular opinion in it, but I just think it's a team that believes in themselves. It also fits Memphis as a city, or at least my impression of Memphis as a city. I've never been there, but it fits that vibe. It gives me like a new age grit and grind vibe, because that grit and grind Grizzlies talked a lot of smack. Like Tony Allen was going to let you hear it. He was going to tell you how he felt. Zebo was going to tell you how he felt. Like, that wasn't necessarily a quiet team either. And the Memphis team is good. Second in the Western Conference. You earned the opportunity and you earned the right to talk your smack. So I'm not mad at him at all for it. All right. I don't see nothing crazy. All right. Next series, got two more. Then we're going to do some Q&A in the comments. Bro, hey, Memphis got Black Air Force energy. Yes, there are certain cities that have Black Air Force energy. Memphis has it. Philly low-key has it, because Philly has it towards its own team, though, because we'll boo you if you're not playing well. There's certain cities that got a little bit of Black Air Force energy. Like, the Warriors don't have it. The Warriors don't have Black Air Force energy. But some teams do. All right, I want to talk about the Suns in Dallas. It's currently 3-2. The Suns just won their last game. Suns just won their last game at home. Another example of teams winning at home. Suns won their first two. Dallas won their next two. And then the Suns won this last game. But before we talk about game, was that 5? I got to talk about game 4. I'm usually not one that likes to harp on officiating, because at least in my experience, usually bad reffing is going to be bad reffing on both sides. Like, they're going to miss some calls. They're going to call some calls. Like, refs are human. They make bad calls. But the officiating that happened against Chris Paul in game 4 was absolutely ridiculous. I missed part of that game, but I went back, and you can go on, fun fact, you can go on NBA.com, go to game summary. You can do like the play-by-play, and you can basically watch every play if you want to see a specific play. So I go back, and I literally just watched the Chris Paul foul calls. When I tell you, it was just basically like, these refs hate Chris Paul. These refs hate Chris Paul, especially that last one, the foul that he fouled out on, the foul that fouled him out. It wasn't a foul. It was him, hand straight up. Honestly, not even really that close to the defender. To the offensive player. And they called the foul late. Like, the guy was on the ground. The shot had been shot, and they called the foul late. So I'm not surprised they lost that game, mainly because Chris Paul had a stinker because he was in foul trouble so much. But other than that, it's been a really, really entertaining series. I still have the Suns winning it. I commend Dallas for playing so well. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas wins their next game at home, because from what I can tell, seeing so far in the series, their guys play better at home. Anthony Smith had an amazing game in game 4 when he was home. He hit 8 threes. And then in the next game, in game 5, He had a horrible game because he was in Phoenix. But for me, the biggest takeaway for the Dallas Mavericks, if they want an opportunity to actually win this game, somebody's got to step up besides Luka and Jalen Brunson. We had it for Dorian Finney-Smith in the home game. And what I mean is somebody had to step up. Somebody had to step up in Phoenix. Dallas is going to have to win a game on the road to win it, obviously. And I don't know if they can, because I don't know if their guys will step up on the road. I thought their third punch was going to be Spencer Dinwiddie. During the regular season, even in the last series, I had seen some moments from Spencer Dinwiddie that I really liked. I'm just not seeing it this year. This series, at least. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the Spencer Dinwiddie that I saw when he first came to Dallas. And I don't know if it's because he's not liking his bench role. I don't really know what the problem is or what he's missing. Well, he showed me that he can do it when he first got to Dallas, and he's not doing it anymore. So it sucks. I like it, though. It's a good opportunity for Dallas to get some second-round playoff experience. Very similar to what I just said about the Memphis Grizzlies. Luka's never made it out of the first round. Opportunity for him to make it out of the first round. Opportunity to him to get some more playoff experience, especially against great guards like Chris Paul, like Devin Booker. I absolutely love the adjustment that Jason Kidd made in the first couple of games. They were hunting. The Suns were hunting Luka. They were putting him in the pick and roll. They were causing switches to happen. They was going at him over and over and over and over and over. Jason Kidd said, y'all not going to do that? We're going to blitz the screen now. So now when you call for the pick and roll, they blitz the ball handler, make him not being able to go one-on-one against Luka, give Luka the opportunity to go back to his man. It's been some really good coaching this series. Little things like that are the things I like to keep an eye out on to see how coaches are adjusting. And I'll be the first to say it. I just can't realize I haven't said it until just now, but going into this season, I'll be honest, I was like, why the heck did y'all hire Jason Kidd? I did not think Jason Kidd was that great of a head coach. I mean, I'll be honest, I was going off of some of his Bucks years, but I didn't have high hopes for Jason Kidd as a head coach, and he's proven me wrong. He's proven me wrong. He's been coaching very well in the playoffs. Heck, he coached the Mavericks really well in the second half of the regular season. They basically did a complete 180 compared to their first couple of months after January. So, opportunity to give Jason Kidd his flowers. I was wrong. You're proving to be a really good head coach. Shout out to you, J. Kidd. What happened to Bismack Biyombo and Chris Duarte? You know what's crazy? So Bismack Biyombo, right? And thank you for pointing that out. He's really been surprising me this series. He ain't been doing nothing crazy, obviously. Like, I'm not saying he's, a starter on anybody's team or even a really, the first big off the bench for somebody's team, but he's really been surprising me for the Suns. They've been playing him. He's been getting his minutes, getting in rotation this series, and when he's in, I mean, a lot of it is like Chris Paul's finding him in really good positions. Devin Booker's finding him in good positions, and they're feeding him, really easy shots. But he's there. He's making the right moves. He's putting his body in the right position. He's not giving them negative minutes. I'll say that. And that's a pleasant surprise. He's not giving them negative minutes. Remember when the Wizards were good? Yeah. Remember when Jason used to make takes in here? Hey, Rage. All the new people in the chat today. This is definitely probably the newest, the most active chat we've had. So I appreciate y'all for pulling up. But y'all remember the Jason days. I'm gonna have to clip up some of them old Jason clips and post them as throwback TikToks, because them Jones were the Jason days were the days. And then the last series I want to talk about before we I got a couple of thoughts on some news around the NBA, and then I'm gonna open up the Discord. The Bucks and Celtics series has been very, very, very good. It's currently 2-2. Let's see what the score is right now. I meant to turn the game on before I started tonight. Okay, it's currently 2-2, but the Celtics are up 69-63. 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter. It's just been a really good back and forth series. It's almost the exact opposite of what the Heat and Sixers and and the Suns and Dallas are going through. In that case, each of those teams were able to win each of those teams were able to win at home. I forgot what I was about to say there. But in this Bucks Celtics series, both of their teams had the opportunity, and they did. They stole games on the road. The Celtics did the wonderful thing of resealing home court by winning in Milwaukee last night. And Al Horford, the Al Horford game, 30 points from Al Horford in an absolutely amazing game. He went 11 for 14 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3. He basically looked like he had a Hawks jersey on last night. And I saw a tweet last night that basically said Al Horford is a perfect example of it's all about fit for certain players. And that's 100% the case. Especially coming from me as a Sixers fan. When we had Al Horford, I was like, what is this guy doing? First off, I already knew the fit was going to be trash. But he wasn't able to showcase his ability the way he's able to showcase his ability with the Boston Celtics. He's able to stretch the floor. He's able to play amazing defense. He's able to be in the paint sometimes when they need him to. He wasn't able to do that with the Sixers. He never should have been on the Sixers, but that's a conversation for a whole nother day. But the Celtics were able to do amazing things this game. All it came down to, a lot of it was Al Horford, especially in that second half. I watched the game and I saw when Giannis dunked on Horford, and Horford kind of looked at him like, all right, bet. And I remember it was funny because I'm on Twitter a lot when I watch games. A lot of people were live tweets the games that I follow, and somebody retweeted somebody else's tweet, and it was basically a screenshot of Horford being like, all right now, and basically was like, what you about to do? Like, hush, Giannis dunked on you, just take it. And at that moment in time, because I went back and looked, Giannis dunked on him at the 11-minute mark. At that time, I want to say he had 12 points. I thought I wrote it down. I didn't, but I remember looking at it. He had either 12 or 13 points. 11-minute mark in the third quarter. Giannis dunks on him. He ends the game at 30. It's just little things like that that makes the game of basketball really, really interesting and exciting to me. The Celtics played really, really well. Boston handled business in the fourth quarter. Started out with Jason Tatum around the 5-minute mark, whereas they had the lead. When the Bucks were trying to push back, when the Bucks were trying to come into the game, they kept saying, nah, Jason Tatum will score. Jason Tatum will score again. Jason Tatum scored again. And then it was Marcus Smart's turn. He scored in 2 possessions in a row. Like, they just played good defense on the other end, and even if the Bucks happened to score, they made sure they scored to keep their lead and to keep playing well down the stretch of the fourth quarter. One special note I have written for the Bucks. One, Giannis had an amazing game. I want to say he had 37, like he on pretty solid efficiency. He looked absolutely dominant, especially in that third quarter. In that third quarter, it seemed like he got to the paint whenever he wanted. He scored whenever he wanted. He did whatever he wanted to do on the basketball court, specifically in the third quarter. Oh, this talk can get me thirsty. But one thing I really noticed was just a quick shout out to Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday. Drew found Lopez, like, I want to say 3 or 4 times for some really good dimes. One was, I think 2 were lobs. 2 were just end traffic, threading the needle dimes for easy dunks for him. Just, once again, a big man putting himself in the right position, running the floor, and a guard having the ability to find their center. It was just good basketball to watch. Obviously, no, they didn't win, but it was a close game. It was a good game. I just want to give them their props because sometimes I don't think Drew Holiday gets a lot of love for his playmaking ability. I'm not, calling him one of the elites or anything like that, but he's a solid playmaker, and that was on full display, at least with his passes to Brook Lopez in that game. Okay. Is Discord even open on my computer? All right. So I'm starting the event. So if you want to be caught up, I got a couple more things I want to talk about, but as I talk about those things, the voice channel is open for in the Discord. I think I dropped yeah, there you go. Links for the Discord is in the chat on the live. In the Discord, there's a voice channel called Hawks Hoops Q&A to give you the opportunity to come up if you want to join the stream real quick. I got a couple more things I want to talk about, but that'll be there. If people come in, I'll bring them up towards the end of the show. But a couple other news pieces around the NBA. Mike Brown is now the new head coach for the Kings. I talked about this briefly in one of my videos. But one thing I did want to say, shout out to Mike Brown once again. Really solid head coach. I'm a fan of the pick, but I kind of wanted Mark Jackson to get the job. I just think Mark Jackson does a slightly better job at developing young talent. I think Mark Jackson, when he believes in his players, he does a really good job of developing young talent. Look at the Golden State Warriors. But I think Mike Brown's going to be a really good head coach there. Then the other thing I wanted to, once again, it's about the Kings. Give them a shout out for sticking with Monty McNair and making him their full-time GM. I was very curious about how they were going to go about the rebuild because, at least to my knowledge, up until a couple of days ago, he was still the interim GM. But they announced that they're going forward with him and making him the full-time GM. And then the last thing was... And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, well, one of the lasts. A lot of people were going back and forth on the whole Shaquille O'Neal versus Rudy Gobert situation. It came up in Shaq's podcast with Spice Adams, and Spice was saying, first off, shout out to Spice. He's hilarious. If you don't follow Spice Adams on Instagram, please do. He's absolutely hilarious. Spice was basically saying Rudy would lock him up. He wouldn't score 12 on him, and Shaq said, I scored 12 in the first 3 minutes. That clip went viral. And then the conversation just ballooned with everyone talking about Shaq versus Rudy Gobert, how much he would score, this, that, and the third. And I'll be honest, this might be a little controversial. I think it got a little out of hand, right? People were like, Shaq would score 100 on him. Shaq would break Wilt Chamberlain's numbers on him. Like, stop it. Shaq's going to be Shaq, obviously, yes. Do I think Rudy Gobert can absolutely stop Shaq? No. Do I think Rudy Gobert could defend him somewhat well? Yes. And yes, we've seen what Shaq did to David Robinson, but I just think... I didn't realize I was muted. I just think in a world where... I see you, I put stuff here. I'm going to bring you up in a second. I just think in a world where Rudy Gobert is clearly the best paint defender of our generation... Like, I just think it was a little disrespectful. I'm not saying he's going to stop him. I think Shaq's still going to put up Shaq numbers, so that could be like 30 and 15 if he really wanted to. But that's no different than what he did against great defenders of his own era. That was the only, like, caveat I had. I just feel like it got a little out of hand with the Rudy Gobert disrespect. All right. Hey, I put stuff here pulled up in the Discord, so we're gonna bring you up. Let me see. How do I do this? How do I do this? Oh, you in the... Is that even possible to do? How? Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. When I tell y'all, I am like noob to Discord. Oh, there we go. Invite to speak. I don't know if he wants to speak, but I hit him with the invite to speak. He might not want to speak.
What's going on?
What's good, man? How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Oh, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to figure out. Stream, can y'all hear him? Say something, man.
What's going on?
I don't know if they can hear him. What's your take, bro? I'm listening.
Raptors need to trade Fred VanVleet.
Really?
Too much of an injury liability. They need a competent center. Sure, he was an all-star, but he, outworked himself in the second half of the season. He fell off and in the playoffs. He didn't play because of injury.
So what would you like? You don't got to give me the exact player, but what would you, or like a prototype? Like what type of player would you want back in terms of Fred VanVleet? This is the first I'm hearing somebody say something like that, so I'm just surprised. That's all.
Well, more of a back to the basket defender that can also defend the perimeter. I'm thinking more of a Clint Capella type of.
Got you.
Perhaps like a smaller big like Robert Williams.
Okay.
But I highly doubt Celtics would.
Yeah. But that like prototype of a guy. I can see that.
Yeah.
So, and in your world, who's taking over his scoring and ball handling responsibilities? Are you looking to Scotty Barnes for that to step up a little bit more? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean he's done that before. Whenever Fred's out, the Raptors obviously look for him, or we could put Gary Trent at the point.
That is true.
That could be very valuable there. And then, yeah, I mean, Barnes, Gary Trent, one of those two.
That's crazy, man. It's not something I really thought about. I'll be honest with you, but I'm not mad at that at all. I'm really not mad at that at all. I'm not going to hold you. I'm a little floored because it's been I've been looking at some wild takes these last couple of days. That's probably one of the best takes I've heard this week. So I've
seen like Mike Brown. He ain't bringing the Kings to the 4th seed.
Yeah, I've seen some interesting ones these last couple of days. That's one of the best ones I've seen. So I'm a little speechless because that's a good thought process. Fred definitely has some trade value. You could definitely get something back for him. And yeah, I think that might push the Raptors back a little bit in terms of their timeline. It would give them the opportunity to stay young. Not that Fred's old, but he's a little older than some of the other guys. But yeah, Gary Trent Jr., OG's still there. Scotty Barnes will still be there. That's not bad at all, dude. That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you.
Yeah. See you.
Appreciate it. That was good. That was a good take, man. That was a really good take. Could y'all hear that fine in the stream? On my end, it looks like it might have been a little low, so I'll have to play around with that for next week. But that was solid. That was definitely solid. Let me see what y'all hear in there talking about in the comments. Other than that, I might be out of here. That's pretty much everything I have for this week. I'm gonna go enjoy some of these games. I'm gonna chop this live up and make it in a couple of TikToks. But my take is like a cold take. Hawks should trade Clint Capella. I can see a world where the Hawks do trade Clint, where the Hawks do trade Clint. I just I think it might be time. I can see that world. But I'm out of here. All the next week. And if you was new, I appreciate you for pulling up. If you're a returner, I appreciate you for pulling up. This was fun. This chat was really active today, so I appreciate y'all for rocking with your boy. And I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace.